Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. I want to talk about tempo because we talked a lot about tempo with LSU's players on Tuesday. Sai'vion Jones was with us, and Greg Penn was with us. And I have a piece up at LouisianaSports.net right now that's got a lot of their quotes there. And I found that their quotes were better in print than they were necessarily for radio because a lot of them are a little bit shorter, and that usually plays a little bit better in print than, you know, the old 45-second sound bite you might want to play for a radio segment. So I'm not going to dump into any of the sound there, but I'll kind of relay what they had to say. And then I'll give you some statistics that kind of explain what the challenge is on Saturday for LSU in facing this Ole Miss offense. I think you're all aware as college football fans and SEC fans and LSU fans that Ole Miss wants to play fast. That's not news. There was a time in college football, really football in general, where coaches would preach ball control, ball security, controlling the clock, sustaining drives. And somewhere in the last 15 or so years, maybe it was Chip Kelly at Oregon, maybe it was some piece to the air raid, maybe it was the no huddle that showed up with Urban Meyer and has been taken everywhere in college football now. But somewhere at some point, folks kind of said, yeah, I kind of like to control the ball, but not really. I really just want to go score. And I want to make sure the defense can't substitute. And I want to make sure the defense is tired. And I want to make sure the defense can't get into checks. And I want to make sure that we are controlling and dictating the pace of this football game. And certainly, right now, Ole Miss is one of the forefront in college football at that. I mean, you look at right now, leaders in points per game, Boise State leads the country in scoring offense. They're 74th in time of possession. Tennessee's ranked 5th in the country in scoring offense. They're 65th in time of possession. And Ole Miss has scored 44 a game. They're 10th in the country in scoring. They're 116th in the country out of 143 in time of possession. That is bottom of the barrel. They don't care at all. They want to go. And LSU is well aware of that. Sai'vion Jones talked on Tuesday about the way that LSU is prepared for this, and he said they've kind of done it two ways. They have had the scout team offense run plays as quickly as possible, which he thinks is kind of physically how you get ready for it. You finish the play, you get ready to go again. You finish the play, you get ready to go again. They've also done a drill where the LSU defense turns its back to the offense, and then the offense sets up, and then the coaches blow the whistle, and the LSU defense turns around, and they're going to run that play really quickly when you get lined up so that you don't have time to get there and train your eyes and look at everything you need to look at. You got to get ready, know where your key is, and play. So they've done it both ways. Sai'vion says he thinks it's been more impactful to do it with his back to the defense because that's the harder thing to adjust to than simply running to where you're supposed to be and starting again. But both ways, they've gotten to figure this out. And there's a good quote from both Jones and Penn about this tempo. One of them is that Sai'vion Jones says it surprises players when you see them finish a play. They don't celebrate. They just line back up and do it again. And that's something the coaches have obviously coached into this LSU defense. They're not going to be doing a bunch of dancing and spiking the ball, and they're not going to be doing a bunch of demonstrative pointing for first downs. They are going to finish the play. When they get tackled, they run the ball to the middle of the field and put it down. Ole Miss has been coached to do that. And Greg Penn said, look, if you've got to know that you can't celebrate either. We need to tone down the celebrations, he said, get back to the next play because they're going to snap the ball really fast. So we got to get our feet in the ground, and it'll be very important for us to go out there and execute. So that's the front end of the coaching of this thing. You understand that Ole Miss is trained to get the ball moving as quickly as possible once again, and LSU's defense is prepared for that. However, Ole Miss, generally speaking, likes to do this on chunk plays and first downs. This is a quote from Sai'vion Jones. You can't tempo if you don't gain much yardage. The way they do their tempo, they get off big plays and first downs. If you stop the big plays and eliminate first downs, then they can't tempo. And that's an interesting piece, and that's certainly true if you've watched Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin over the last 5 years. Now, teams haven't been able to do that. And I realize that Ole Miss's schedule has not been great. You've played Kentucky and South Carolina, who nobody thinks is going to Atlanta or the college football playoff, and your non-conference schedule was a joke. But we know that Ole Miss has had kind of the same identity under Kiffin with Jackson Dart for the last couple of years. And if you look at this year, Ole Miss is first in the country in creating plays of 30-plus yards. They are second in the country to Miami in plays of 20-plus yards. So they are getting ahead of the chains. They are busting big plays. And a lot of times you hit a big play and you want to let somebody know about it. Not going to happen for Ole Miss. And LSU's defensive players know this. They also know that you got to do it more than 3 times to stop them. This is a great line from Greg Penn on Tuesday. Coach Baker was telling us in a meeting that after 3rd down, don't even celebrate because they're probably going forward on 4th down. That's another piece to Lane Kiffin's puzzle. He believes very, very ardently in the analytics that suggest if you got 4th and less than 3, you probably need to be going for it. And he'll do that at his own 30-yard line. He'll do it at his own 40-yard line. He'll do it in field goal range. He believes in trying to get another 1st down to try to get touchdowns. And that also changes their play calling mentality on 3rd down. You got 3rd and 7. A run for 4.5 is not necessarily the worst thing you can do. You've got 3rd and 1. Taking a deep shot, not the worst thing. Because you can line up and try to get it again. And LSU's players have been coached to know that. If you notice on Tuesdays when you go listen to these players talk, that they have talking points that have clearly been communicated. And I think it was even more exaggerated with Penn and Jones this week because they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. And they know that they've got to be ready to go on 4th down. Every single year that Lane Kiffin has been the head coach at Ole Miss, the Rebels have been in the top 10 in the country in 4th down conversion attempts. They're actually not this year. I think that's probably because they've been up 50-0 in games, and you don't necessarily have to go for it on 4th down, and you don't really have a lot of 4th downs when you're scoring 50 points. So I think that number will rise as Ole Miss faces tougher competition, and I expect them to go for a number of 4th downs in the game on Saturday night. Now, I say all this to explain to you Ole Miss's offensive identity. Fast, aggressive, big plays, go for 4th downs. They don't care about time of possession. And that's the identity they believe in, and there's some merit in that. Ole Miss has had a ton of success under Lane Kiffin. He came in, inherited Matt Luke's program that wasn't any good, and they've won double-digit games 2 out of 3 years, and they're in the top 10 coming into Tiger Stadium. It's hard for me to argue with Ole Miss's philosophy when you realize what they've been for the last 40 years and you realize what they are now. It's working to that extent. But you just got to go back 2 weeks ago to see where it didn't work. Because Kentucky came into Oxford and straight up controlled the clock. The Wildcats had one drive of 7 minutes and 38 seconds, one drive of 6 minutes, 26 seconds, another drive of 5:45, another drive of 4:34, and they're not, 9-minute drives always. But when you add all these up and you look at the game in its totality, while Ole Miss is going as fast as they can go, Kentucky won time of possession 39 minutes and 43 seconds to 20 minutes and 17 seconds. They won it 40 minutes to 20 minutes. And they ran 75 plays to Ole Miss's 56. And when you start to create that much of a chasm between the play amounts, all of a sudden it becomes difficult to win. And I think LSU has a chance to take some advantage of that because LSU does run a bit of a ball control type offense. They like to throw the ball, which most people would mean you like to go fast. No, it's just a controlled passing game. It's a high completion percentage. You've heard us say week after week after week that Garrett Nussmeier leads the country in completions. When you lead the country in completions, you're keeping the clock running a lot, especially when they don't stop it for first downs anymore. So LSU does run some ball control stuff. Listen to Ole Miss's scoring drives and just how quickly the Rebels can move down the field and do move down the field. Like there are very, very, very few instances where the Rebels take any time at all. They have had 43 scoring drives on this season. 31 of 43 have taken less than 3 minutes off the clock. 31 of 43, less than 3 minutes. Of those 43 scoring drives, 3 of them have taken 5 minutes. 3. 5 minutes isn't that big a deal. I just went through Kentucky's drives. They had about 4 of them that were 5 minutes. In that game, Ole Miss has 3 on the season. They're just not interested in methodically plotting their way down the field. They want to go hurry up. They want to go tempo. They either want to score really fast or hit a big play. That's the MO. And to LSU's credit, the last 2 weeks, they haven't really given up big plays. They did against USC. They did against Nichols. They did against South Carolina. Those were running plays. And it wasn't great against UCLA. They did give up completions that went for large numbers, but they weren't necessarily busts in coverage. LSU's cleaned it up a little bit. They've got to clean it up more on Saturday. It's going to be vital for LSU to eliminate the big plays and to try to slow Ole Miss down on first down to prevent that warp speed tempo. But in talking to Sai'vion Jones and Greg Penn, they know that's what's coming. We'll see if they can stop it. That's really the key to this game. If LSU's defense can show up and limit Ole Miss in any way, I think the Tigers are in the game. You give up 45 points, I think that's lights out. But we'll find out on Saturday. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.